Party switching Sheriff Todd Baxter, party switching District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and bald-headed, wig-wearing Penfield Judge Paula Metzler, who doesn't know what century it is. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime. This is a Freedom of Information law that I'm going to read. And you will refuse to comply with everyone because the law is a joke to you. Paula Metzler, I will never come into Penfield Town Court. I'm not coming there. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do with the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. I've never committed a crime, and I'm going to have to be deposited in there like I was on August 30th when I was violently attacked and assaulted outside the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. I have never committed a crime, and you bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler are sitting there in your little library courtroom and deciding I need to be in jail, and you're calling the sheriff's office because they went berserk here. I had 11 of my neighbors come to my residence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, after your psychopaths were pounding on the back sliding glass window, the side of the residence, the front door, and that's on the previous YouTube. It's called Hatred. 11 of my neighbors came to here and knocked on the door and said, I saw what happened. It's a disgrace. So Todd Baxter, if you think you're doing this to me and people don't notice because these people vote, then you're delusional. And you already are delusional because the law is a joke to you. You don't even know what party you're supposed to be in because all that matters is power. So I'm going to repeat myself. Given the age of Paula Metzler, one person is trying to send me to jail. What do you think about that at the district attorney's office? Why isn't there a jury in Penfield Town Court? That is one of the 100 plus reasons why I'll never go into Penfield Town Court. And fuck you, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. Madam District Attorney, what do you think about one human being attempting to send me to jail? Why isn't there a jury in Penfield Town Court? Does that matter to you, Sandra Doorley? Why isn't there a jury? When there's a jury in Penfield Town Court, I'll go into Penfield Town Court. This psychopath, Paula Metzler, is sitting there as one person and deciding I should go to jail and then calling the sheriff's office, and they're losing their minds violently outside my residence. You can hear them screaming my name and pounding on the door, and this is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. What do you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, think that the employees at the United States Department of Justice are going to conclude with that aberrant, psychopathic behavior by your employees outside my residence that has witnesses? I'm also going to contact the office of Governor Andrew Cuomo about what has happened to me, and I've never committed a crime. Prosecutor didn't talk in Penfield Town Court, and you, Sandra Doorley, refused to tell me the name of your prosecutors that didn't talk. When you, Sandra Doorley, tell me the name of your two prosecutors who didn't talk, I may consider going into Penfield Town Court. So you hacks are refusing to comply with the law, and you're demanding I go into Penfield Town Court as an innocent man just to be declared guilty. That's insane. And that's what corruption does to an innocent American. So when you send me the payroll, Todd Baxter, so I can compare it to payroll that Lee LaRoque didn't take out of the house, I may consider going into Penfield Town Court to be declared guilty by Paula Metzler. When you send me the payroll, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, I may go into Penfield Town Court to be declared guilty by Paula Metzler. And Todd, tell me how this is a crime. When you can tell me and describe to me how this is a crime, I may consider going to Penfield Town Court and be declared guilty by Paula Metzler. I walk outside one day, stand right here, tell a guy in his tractor from Bronco Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns that land, and walk back in my house. How's that a crime? Tell me how that's a crime, you bald-headed party-switching stooge. Tell me how that's a crime. You know what? That's not a crime. And when I tell the United States Department of Justice and the Office of Governor Andrew Cuomo that you sent 6 of your fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths here just for me going outside and telling a guy in his tractor that no one owns that land, how do you explain that, Todd Baxter? Because that is not a crime. You do not know what a crime is. This is what a pathetic joke you are. And that's not only the first time. Because that's criminal contempt here. That's criminal contempt. How's that a crime? Tell me how it's a crime. I'll consider going into Penfield Town Court. Harassment second. I've said this to you 100 plus times. On YouTube, in the registered mail return receipt you received to me, why hasn't $79,000 Andrew Reale been fired? Why hasn't $67,000 Shannon Meyer been fired? Because they represent the same type of corruption and intolerance and extremism that you represent. I go to PW Fit. It used to be driven across from Wegmans at 2157 Penfield Road. I'd walk through the parking lot of Wegmans, and guess who I would see? I'd see your employees there, Todd. all the time. Here's one of them right here. There she is driving right by Wegman. So every day I'd walk over this now defunct PW Fitness, and I'd see one of your vehicles. That's how I took this picture. I was walking over to Wegmans. Here she comes, took out my phone, click. I'd walk past Wegmans. I'd go to this gym. When I go in the gym, I use my key card. I look in the back. Jessica Wagner, pay attention because you're the defense attorney at the district attorney's office for this violent thug. I'm at the back. One day, I'm on the bench press. Up walks to me Jermaine Benman. He goes like this. I don't acknowledge him. I tell him I'll be 30 seconds. He punches down. My head snaps back violently. What would you think if the head of Kevin Baxter was snapped back at this gym, Todd? What would you think if the head of Zachary Baxter was snapped back violently at the gym? And what crime did I just commit? What crime am I committing when I had my head snapped back violently at the gym? And who am I harassing? I'll wait forever. When you tell me the name of the human being I'm harassing, I may consider going into Penfield Town Court, you bald-headed criminal. A witness calls the sheriff's office. Andrew Reale arrives because he's been to my residence, his parking lot. Andrew Reale decides he's going to concoct a crime for me just like Shannon Meyer. That's what you do at the sheriff's office. Who am I harassing, Todd Baxter? How's that a crime to go outside my residence? Harassment second. We go outside. Andrew Reale tells him to wait in the backseat of his vehicle. He talks to Jermaine Bam in front of your Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle. How many Americans in the United States of America have been charged with harassment second sitting in the backseat of a police vehicle? I believe I'm the only one. This is also, I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice that I'm the only American charged with harassment second sitting in the backseat of a police vehicle. Jermaine Benman is talking to Andrew Reale. Reale tells him what to say. He walks Benman around the side of the vehicle. Benman says, I want to press charges against you. And with those 7 words, I'm charged with harassment second. You're refusing to answer, so I'm going to ask you again. When I repeat myself, it's because you refuse to answer. But if you want answers at the district attorney's and sheriff's office, you better acquire those answers. But when a citizen's demanding answers from you, it's an arrogant dismissal. This is the hypocrisy of your nauseating existence, party-switching, bald-headed Todd Baxter and party-switching Sandra Doorley. Who am I harassing? When you tell me the name of the human being I'm harassing, I may consider going to Penfield Town Court. I will never go into Penfield Town Court, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. I will never make an appearance there. I don't care what you do to me. I've never committed a crime, and you as one person trying to deliver me to jail. Fuck you, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. Who am I harassing, Todd Baxter? Jermaine Benman appears before James C. Mully Jr. in Penfield Town Court. The guy that snapped my head back walked right out the door because Jessica Wagner had to deal with James C. Mully, the attorney for Jermaine Benman. I'm in jail for harassment second, sitting in the back seat of Andrew Reale's police vehicle. You will have to explain these concoctions to the United States Department of Justice. How do you possibly explain this? These are the tickets of extremism. So, I didn't receive a warning when you pounded on my residence, Todd. Pounded on the sliding glass door, pounding on the side, pounding the door. I didn't get a warning that crazy people are coming. Crazy people are coming, Todd. Todd, I mean, really, is your play driving by Wegmans again? Are they going to be over there? When I call you a fanatic, a degenerate, and a sociopath, it's not an exaggeration. There's my little guy, my Shih Tzu. If you own dogs, it's district attorneys and sheriff's office. I don't know who watches these YouTubes because I'm not talking to the district attorneys and sheriff's office. I'm talking to the United States Department of Justice. So if I use your names, then I'm going to use your names in the event that you do watch this. But I'm talking to the United States Department of Justice. I adopted my little guy from my Pop Farm Humane Society. I'm telling you this again because of the extremism you represent. Todd, are your employees going to be banging on the window now, banging on the side of the residence, banging on the front door, screaming my name outside at any point here at 10:14 p.m.? Are they going to be losing their minds like you? Because it's easy for them to lose their minds. You tell them to lose their minds. This is a Shih Tzu. My ex-girlfriend, Riley and I, when we lived in Webster, we wanted to adopt a dog and give a dog a home that nobody wanted. And if you have dogs that you've adopted at district attorney's office, sheriff's office, then you know that every dog deserves a home and every dog deserves to be loved. And Laura Riley and I were interviewed, and we were asked in the interview, have you ever been arrested? Have you ever committed a crime? And we said no. And to this day, I've never committed a crime, even though I have concoctions that I just explained. And we adopted him. His name is Alex. When I worked for the United States Senate as a staffer on the United States Committee on Small Business, chaired by Senator Olympia Stovnam, worked with Alex Hack. No dog minds him. He named Alex. He's named after former WBA lightweight champion Ray Mancini, otherwise known as Boo Boo. All I'm doing is walking my dog the same way for 7 years and 4,000 times. And I'm going to tell you these parasites that you're with, that you've unleashed upon me, where I cannot walk through that parking lot. I'm the only New Yorker in the state of New York that can't walk through this parking lot. How do you explain that, Todd, and District Attorney Sandra Doorley? Where's my 14th Amendment right? They had the fireworks in Harris Whalen Park in 2018 and 2019. 200 people I personally witnessed in a 15-minute period after the fireworks walked through this parking lot. The accusatory instrument for me is walk through the parking lot. How many of those 200 people in just 15 minutes? And before the fireworks, Penfield High School band students were walking through that parking lot. Why don't you arrest a Penfield High School band student? If it's a crime to walk through that parking lot, how do you explain this to the United States Department of Justice employees and the employees of the Office of Governor Andrew Cuomo? How is that possibly explained? It can't be explained because this is fanaticism, extremism, hatred, and corruption. And that's what you represent at the district attorney's office and sheriff's office. Fanaticism, extremism, hatred, and corruption descends on me. I'm walking my little guy the same way. These parasites, Neeraj and Layla Kumar, shot a 50-year-old man living with his mother. The back window flies open. This woman is screaming at me. I don't know what that is. I bring my little guy in, put him on his dog bed. My mom and dad got me. I walk through the parking lot to talk to them. They refuse to talk to me. They already called the sheriff's office. I come in. There's two of your employees, Todd Baxter, with animal control there. He's got a 10-foot pole in his hand, demanding my dog's a vicious confrontation. I said, you'll have to kill me to take my little guy from me. How do you show up to my residence to demand my dog when I'm walking him the same way for 7 years and 4,000 times? How do you explain that? Explain it. When you can explain why you're showing up to my residence, demanding my little guy, then I may consider going to Penfield Town Court. I will never go into Penfield Town Court bald-headed wig wearing Paula Metzler. And Paula Metzler, pay attention. I'll have to be attacked and assaulted. And if I'm in front of you, bald-headed wig wearing Paula Metzler, I will be screaming at you and over you. And I don't care about courtroom protocol. I don't care about being held in contempt in court because I observed courtroom protocol before. I stood there and allowed myself to be declared guilty. I will not allow you to declare me guilty, you bald-headed wig-wearing degenerate. Do you understand me, Paula Metzler? I will be screaming at you and over you. There is not one word you will be able to say to me. There's not one syllable you will be able to utter, Paula Metzler. And I look forward to doing this to you. I want to do this to you. I want to scream at you in the most ferocious way possible. Paula Metzler, when you're having me sign an order of protection and handcuffs for Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah, even though I haven't met these two fanatics. How to explain that to the Department of Justice? I'm standing there in handcuffs, and there you are with that order of protection. Why do two people I've never met require an order of protection, Paula Metzler? Explain that, you bald-headed wig-wearing joke. Also explain, Todd Baxter and Paula C. Metzler, you bald-headed wig-wearing joke. Search warrant without an identifying number. How is that explained to the Department of Justice? I'll ask you this again. And when you refuse to answer, I love it. Did you type this search warrant in your library courtroom with Lee LaRoque of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office next to you? Was $79,000 Lee LaRoque right there, and then you decided you're going to call my landlord and enter my residence looking for what? And he exited with my Chromebook. Lee LaRoque, did you read my emails? The answer is yes. Did you go to the search history on the Chromebook? The answer is yes, because you're trying to concoct the crime for me using my Chromebook. How is this constitutional? There's no identifying mark. All it says is search warrant. I will tell the United States Department of Justice that you bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler typed this search warrant in your little library courtroom with Lee LaRoque either there or you sent it to her, and that's how she gets in here. Because my landlord, Giuseppe and Nino Spano, obviously petrified when they got that phone call. And what you're doing to Giuseppe and Nino by calling them and contacting them and them having to let you in here enrages me. This should never happen to Giuseppe and Nino. Proof by affidavit. Paula Metzler, where's the affidavit? Proof by affidavit. What do you think about that, Perry Duckles? Proof by affidavit. Where is it? I'm confident it doesn't exist. Todd, I mean, really, you're getting your head stuck in the door again? How many times do I have to tell you not to get your head stuck in the door at 130 South Plymouth Avenue? Doesn't this hurt your head, Todd? So get with the program and stop slamming your head in the door like that. All right, Todd? And the other thing, Todd, when you're down there, I see you guys because I run down there, I ride my bike in the summer, and, here your employees here with these flags outside of 130 South Plymouth Avenue. This is bad for public relations, Todd, baby. You have to tell your employees, knock it off, with those flags. And also, Todd, do not, let's see, it's 10:19 p.m. Do not allow another inmate to escape. You allow Leah Burden to escape. How do you possibly allow a 19-year-old pregnant woman to escape? There she is. So, Todd, do not allow another pregnant woman to escape. And she was in a soft restraint. Is that right? What the hell is soft restraint? Quote, the 3-hour chase, 3 hours. I'm trying not to laugh. began when 19-year-old Rochester resident Leah Burton escaped from, quote, soft restraint and strong Memorial maternity ward on Monday. I wish there was a video of this, Todd the Fascist Stooge, because there are cameras everywhere in the United States of America in 21. And if there's a camera in the maternity ward, I would love to see the video of 19-year-old, 8-month pregnant Leah Burton escaping from your custody at Strong to a 3-hour chase. Now, is that just the language of the story, 3-hour chase? Or were your employees chasing Aaliyah Bird for 3 hours? How do you allow a 19-year-old, 8-month pregnant woman who 2 years before was in high school to escape? So I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice in my quest to have you removed from office, and this is one of the 500,000 examples of why you are a total incompetent and a buffoon. You cannot even prevent a 19-year-old woman from escaping your custody. What are their names? And what was the discipline? When I get to those Freedom of Information Law documents, I'm demanding how you discipline your public employees, because they're public employees. They're paid for with taxpayer dollars. Todd, is it time for your whack jobs to be pounded on the side of my residence? Is it time for them to be pounded on the glass sliding door, the side of the residence, the front door? It's time for your whack jobs to be losing their fucking minds. I know what you're thinking. He needs to be arrested with using that middle finger at me. That's exactly right. And fuck you, Todd Baxter. And fuck you, Sandra Doorley. What I'm trying to do is activate your fanaticism, and I did. Fanaticism is easily activated when you're already a fanatic. And that's what you were doing when you're outside screaming my name, pounding on the door, pounding on the side of the residence. Fanaticism. I've been calling you and labeling you a fanatic, a degenerate, and a sociopath for 18 months. And that's why you're a fanatic, a degenerate, and a sociopath. I use language with precision, or I strive to use language with precision. I'm not always perfect, I don't always get it right. But I have been labeling you a fanatic, a degenerate, and a sociopath. And you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, bald-headed, party-switching fraud, unleashed your fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths upon me when they're outside screaming my name, pounding on the sliding glass door, pounding on the side of the residence, pounding on the front door. You're not doing this to me in isolation. So, Paula Metzler, to any deputy sheriff, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and any other police officer in the state of New York. Paula Metzler, you know where Montauk, New York is? I don't know where you're from. I don't know anything about you as far as where you've been in your life. I have enough information on you that I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice about you. But I don't know where you lived, and that's none of my business. But Paula Metzler, do you know where Montauk, New York is? Montauk, New York is the easternmost part of Long Island. I'm from Suffolk County. I used to go out there fishing with my grandpa. And with the 2 years I was SUNY Fredonia, I would go to Buffalo occasionally when I was 18 and 19 years old, including to a Sabres game once. So I've been all over this beautiful state that I love, just like millions of New Yorkers. So Paula Metzler, I'm not telling this for narcissism. I've been to New York, Montauk with my grandpa fishing. I've been up to Buffalo with the Odd to see Sabres game when I was 19 and 18 years old when I was at SUNY Fredonia. Paula Metzler, this says to any deputy sheriff, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and any other police officer in the state of New York. Any other police officer in the state of New York. Can any other police officer in the state of New York, from Montauk, New York to Buffalo, New York, come in this residence and look for a hammer? That's what you're looking for. And you exited my Chromebook. Any laptops, computers, tablets, or other computing devices. Why do you have that on there? Where's my Chromebook? You read my emails, didn't you, Paula Metzler? So you read my emails, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Did you read my emails, Lee LaRoque? Lee LaRoque, why are you overweight? I've been demanding the physical training standards from Todd Baxter. I saw a photograph of you outside the public safety building. Why are you overweight, Leah? Why can't you lose that 40 pounds? How do you do your job? Do you understand, Leah, that criminals run away from the cops, and you may have to run after a criminal? Why are you overweight? It is an absolute disgrace how your employees, Todd Baxter, have weight problems, and you may need to lose weight too. How are you, Todd Baxter? You may have lost weight. The photos I saw of you, you're in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 pounds overweight. How can you tell an employee to get in shape when you're overweight? Todd, it's 10:24 p.m. Is it time for another 19-year-old pregnant woman to escape again from Strong? Just let me know, all right? Because she escaped from a soft restraint. I have to emphasize that. And it said the sheriff's office says she will face new charges because of her escape. Oh, really? What did you do with your employees that allowed her to escape? So she escaped, and she should face new charges. You're in custody and you escape, that's a charge. What did you do with your employees that allowed Leah Burton to escape? And I believe the answer to that is nothing. There was no discipline because you don't have a disciplinary process. when somebody escapes. You don't have a disciplinary process when you're concocting crimes for innocent Americans like me. When you tell me who I'm harassing because of Andrew Reality sitting in the backseat of the vehicle, I may decide to go into Penfield Town Court. When you tell me how it's a crime to walk outside and stand on Sanders Farm Drive, I may go into Penfield Town Court. Tell me how this is a felony on my back porch. Because of what I'm doing to you on YouTube and what I've sent to your office, registered mail return receipt, because I read the salaries, you concocted this crime for me. Am I committing a felony on my back porch? Tell me the names of your 2 employees who walked onto the private property of my 72-year-old neighbor. Tell me their names. They walked onto the private property. Perry Duckles. Does a law enforcement official anywhere in the United States of America have standing, credibility to walk onto the private property of anyone anywhere in the United States of America, a residential home or business, and run from that property at another human being on his property in the concoction of a crime? I don't know. They're on the private property near her window. I come outside my residence past midnight, pitch blackout, and these trees are here. And when it's pitch blackout and these trees are here, it's as dark as possible. I walk outside. I come alongside of my residence. Your employees, your whack jobs, Todd, are running at me from the private property of my neighbor. I don't know what that is. I turn on when the body camera goes on. That's not a crime. Send me that body camera footage again. Send it to me. Click reply and send it to me. I want to see it again and compare it to what I've seen. So I'm going to say this again just for you, you bald-headed, party-switching fascist stooge. When the body camera footage goes on of your employees, that's not a crime. I'm not committing a crime. And what happens on the back porch, that's not a crime either, even though you concocted a felony for me. I run up the back of my porch. Your employee grabs my arm. The hammer I just grabbed goes up. I pull it away. I run back to my residence. How is that a felony? Your employee went back and concocted his felony and said, I swung a hammer at him. Todd, I've said this again. If I swung a hammer at your employee, I could have brought that hammer down on the head of your employee, and I would have ended his career right there because he would have had serious health complications. I've never swung a hammer at anybody. He grabbed my arm, you bald-headed fascist stooge. And since he grabbed my arm, the hammer went up. And this delusional psychopath thinks I'm swinging a hammer at him when he grabbed my arm. I'm running away, you bald-headed fascist stooge criminal. Running away. What are the names? When you tell me the names, I may consider going into Penfield Town Court. What are the names of your employees that hit on the private property of my neighbor, ran at me at night? I run up my back porch. He grabs my arm. The hammer I just grabbed. I pull away. I run back to my residence. You can see I'm wearing camouflage pants. Same ones I'm wearing now. How is that a crime? How is that a felony? When you tell me how that's a crime, that's a felony, I may consider going into Penfield Town Court. I will never go into Penfield Town Court, Paula Metzler. I hope you're losing your mind and come here. Come here tomorrow and pound on the sliding glass door, pound on the side of the residence, pound on the front door, scream my name. Do that again. Matter of fact, I want you to do that every day. Do that every day, Todd Baxter. So, fine, Shannon Meyer. This delivers me to jail. I'm a defendant on a piece of paper. That the defendant on the above date location 1440 hours did knowingly remain unlawfully in improper premises 2041 Penfield, Penfield, or walk through the parking lot after being told to 35 mail and police that he's not on the property. How do you allow Nairaj and Lady Kumar Shah to do this to me? Why don't you just laugh them out of your office? 50-year-old man living with his mommy. How is this possibly constitutional that I'm a defendant on a piece of paper? Why is Shannon Meyer still employed in her $67,000 a year salary? This piece of paper delivers me to Monroe County Jail without the prosecutor talking. District Attorney Sandra, what's her name? I'm demanding you tell me her name. And I'm also going to demand the name of this 5'2" three-piece suit boy who also didn't talk. I'm supposed to go back into this nauseating star chamber, Penfield Town Court, where I've been delivered to jail twice, where the prosecutor hasn't talked, where I haven't committed a crime. That's insanity. I will never appear in Penfield Town Court, Paula Metzler. Fuck you, Paula Metzler. How can you possibly be objective after what I'm doing to you on email? And attached is the Freedom of Information Law documents that you're refusing to comply with. The only joke you are, Paula Metzler, that you're refusing to tell me the name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., J.P. Mully Jr., and Paula Metzler. I sent this to you on December 16th. You received it 5 times since. 16th, 17th, 26th, the 28th, 29th, more than 5 times, the 30th, January 2nd, January 3rd, January 6th, January 5th, over and over and over. Guilty, 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 guilty. How do you explain to the Department of Justice, bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler, that everybody's guilty? I sat there before my appearance before the 70-year-old hack John P. Lomenzo Jr., the pedophile protection racket, the child rapist Daniel Blouse III, and he's just declaring people guilty. There's no prosecutor, just like with me, guilty, guilty, guilty from John P. Lomenzo Jr. Facts don't matter. Nothing matters. Guilty every time. How's that explained? United States Department of Justice. How's it explained to the controller, Todd, that you have a $0 employee in Michael Radler? What do you do at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for $0, Michael Radler? You're afraid to open your mail, return to sender. Isn't that right? Michael Radler's afraid to open his mail. John P. Lomenzo Jr., 4 Forest Grove Court, demanding information from him in this envelope. I'm demanding the documentation that he called defective when he released Daniel Blouse III, child rapist who was rearrested. There are legitimate arrests, of course. He's releasing a child rapist. He told the Democrat and Chronicle that the paperwork's defective. He doesn't want to open his mouth. 4 Forest Grove Court. Elliot Roth, this is the guy that says to me, going to be arrested. I'm just walking through the parking lot. Who told you he's going to be arrested, Elliot? Coward. If I ask you the same question, Elliot, here it is again. I'm not just putting in the mouth. If someone asked me, who told you I was being arrested, I would tell that person the name. Who told the Monroe County Sheriff's Office I was going to be arrested, Elliot? Was it Shannon Meyer? They rushed Shah. I'm demanding they prove that on that line. He's not opening his mouth. Layla Kumar Shah refused. Layla Kumar Shah refused. Layla Kumar Shah refused. Layla Kumar Shah. John P. Lomenzo Jr. writes an order of protection for me to avoid Layla Kumar Shah, even though she lives right over there. I'm at the back of the YMCA on a rowing machine. I'm rowing. I see Layla Kumar Shah. She's walking toward me. I'm thinking, please walk by me and leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm rowing. She comes up to me. She stands in front of me. She points oddly to something next to me. I say to her, what's my name? You know my name. Layla Kumar Shah goes over to the YMCA trainer, this trainer on his black shirt. She says, he doesn't belong to the YMCA. This is what you've released upon me. This is a sick woman. These are sick individuals. Nayraj Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, Elliot Roth, and you released them upon me. So I'm charged with attempted assault on my back porch while I'm not attempting to assault anyone. Todd, attempted assault. The hammer goes up, I pull away. I could have assaulted your employee by bringing the hammer right down on his head. Attempted assault. The only reason he can concoct this is he grabbed my arm. If I wanted to assault him, I could have brought the hammer right down on his head and ended his career. Petty larceny, someone you think is me, is taking a sign. Trespassing, I don't even know what that is. What are the names of your 2 employees that concocted? These are the 3 for your employees. How am I defending on a piece of paper? How does that work? Tell me how that works. So, let's see. It's 10:33. Is it time for Lee Burton to escape again, you bald-headed stooge? Huh? Is Lee Burton escaping again? What are their names? Who allowed Lee Burton to escape? And there's no accountability for you. He's your public employee supported by the taxpayers of Monroe County, state of New York. I'm demanding their names. Who allowed Lee Burton to escape? And you will refuse. John P. Lomenzo Jr. refused. Paula Metzler, bald-headed wig wearing Paula Metzler. Why is John P. Lomenzo Jr. afraid of me? He's afraid to open his mouth. You're going to be receiving multiple documents from me, bald-headed wig wearing hack. Here he is again. And here he really lost his mind. Here, rejected, as I call the Hannibal Lecter from John P. Lomenzo Jr. Elliot Roth says you're going to be arrested. I'm not just putting this in the mail, Elliot. It's certified mail from you. Refused, Elliot. Elliot, you're afraid to open your mouth. You're standing there looking at me with that idiot smile, taking pleasure, saying to me you're going to be arrested. I don't know what you're talking about. You know I don't know what you're talking about. You know I have no idea what you're talking about. That's because they put that camera on that building. Right, Elliot? When did they put that camera, also called a surveillance device, on that building? Because I've been on it multiple times now. They can't lie about it anymore. Layla Kumar Shah refused. Nayraj Shah, this is the guy who initially bombed me. Prove you own that land where I walk my dog. How do you come to my house and demand my little guy when I'm just walking him the same way? How do the cops descend on the home of an innocent man and demand his dog? What would you think, Todd? You're just walking your dog every way, same way, for 7 years and 4,000 times. And there's law enforcement at your door. Give us your dog. You'd think that's fanaticism, right? You can identify fanaticism, Todd Baxter, because you're a fanatic. So, Leah LaRocque in her blue gloves. Leah, did you type that search warrant in the office of bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler or not? Are these your blue gloves? I'm going to tell the United States Department. I'm going to photograph these gloves in the documentation I sent to the United States Department of Justice. I'm going to say you left these blue gloves behind with this search warrant. That's not a search warrant, Leah. Did you type it? I'll repeat myself on certain things that need to be emphasized because what I've learned is that corruption has to have that truth hammered into it. I will tell the United States Department of Justice, Leah LaRoque, that these are your blue gloves, and this is a search warrant that you typed in the office of Paula Metzler, and this has no force of law, and this is an unconstitutional search warrant. Do you understand what I just told you? I also tell the Department of Justice I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona. How is that explained? This is, arguably the most important Supreme Court decision of the 20th century, passed in 1966, because it protects the constitutional and civil rights of every single American. So, Freedom of Information Law. Comply with the law. My name is Christopher Chichester. I've never committed a crime. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. That Sheriff Todd Baxter is reprimanded, terminated, or disciplined in employment at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. Christopher Chichester, January 7th, 2021. There's my address, my email. You know what my address is, Todd? Because your employees were banging on the screen door, banging on the side of the residence, banging on the front door. You lost your minds here, and that's easy for you to do, to lose your minds. I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice, and that YouTube that's attached, which I call hatred, you can hear them screaming my name, banging on the door. And my neighbors, something happens to that YouTube. I don't know how secure these YouTubes are sometimes. My neighbors that were coming over here saying what was going on there, and that was a disgrace. That was the exact word from one of my neighbors. That's a disgrace what I saw happen. How do you explain this when you run for re-election? Because I'm going to be coming to your events relentlessly. And this is one of the things I'm going to say to you about your employees being at my residence, losing their minds, pounding on my sliding glass door, my front door, the side of the residence, screaming my name. How do you explain this? Fanatic, degenerate, and sociopath. Does a prosecutor talk in court, Sandra Doorley? Should a prosecutor doesn't talk in court as an innocent man is delivered to jail be fired? The answer is yes. So, internal disciplinary records. The internal disciplinary records of documentation employees the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office of District Attorney Sandra Doorley. That District Attorney Sandra Doorley has disciplined, reprimanded, terminated from employment at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office. Should a prosecutor who doesn't talk, not one word, not one sound, not one syllable, be fired when an innocent man is delivered to jail? And the answer is yes. And you refuse to answer. I will never appear in Penfield Town Court, Paula Metzler. I don't care what you're doing. I'm not going in there. Fuck you, Paula Metzler. Todd, your entire nauseating, impulsive existence is tax dollars sending the latest payroll, so I compare it to the payroll Lee LaRoque didn't take out of the house and put the raises on YouTube. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, your entire nauseating, impulsive existence is tax dollars. Send me the new payroll so I compare it to the one I have and put the raises on YouTube. Very simple process. How do you pay your public employees on their 41st hours work? The total cost of overtime, time and a half work paid beyond base salaries calculated by Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. If you work a 41st hour, it's the same hourly rate as the first 40 hours. How is that done? How do you do it? Because I believe your employees will intentionally drive around another 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours because they want that money. Do you have a list of people you pay overtime to, the top 10, the top 20, top 30, top 40, top 50? You do. You have a list. If that's the correct word. I'm using a general term, a list. But you can look at a document with the names of your employees and you can see who works beyond a 40th hour. If you have an employee that is paid $75,000, then you can see what they're doing and how many hours they work to be paid $85,000, $95,000, $100,000. You have 50 plus employees making $100,000 just in base salary. How many do you have, you bald-headed fascist stooge, that make $100,000 with the base salary and overtime, and you will refuse to answer, you bald-headed fascist stooge? That Chris Chichester needs to be arrested. That's exactly what you're thinking. I know what fanaticism thinks. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, well paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley. How is that done? Perry Duckles, you work a 40-hour week? Oh, yes, given your importance at the District Attorney's Office, you exceed 40 hours frequently, if not every week. How do you do that at the District Attorney's Office? When I was a public employee in Albany, Washington, D.C., it was no overtime. Your salary is your salary. Now, one person I work with when I worked for the majority leader and governor and on Capitol Hill for Senator Olympia Snowe and Congressman Lawrence Smith was paid any money. We would talk about that. About how your salary is your salary, and that's it. How's that done at the district attorney's office? What's the answer, Perry? How do you pay your public employees at the district attorney's office? For example, here we have a list of salaries at the district attorney's office. Mark Monahan, $123,817. Mark, are you paid $123,817 for the whole year? You make more. Julie Hahn, you paid $117,798 all year long, and you make more. Payroll for the sheriff's office. I opened it up, and right there's a $100,000 salary. Maurice Leone, $118,787. Maurice, what the hell do you do at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for $118,787? Todd Baxter, how do you explain to the Controller of New York when I demand that you be audited that Maurice Leone is paid $118,787? How do you explain to the people of Monroe County when you run for re-election your $100,000 cops? How's that possibly explained? You were losing the primary, Todd Baxter. You were losing the Democratic primary. Isn't that right? Because that's your new party. You will lose in the Democratic primary. I guarantee it. I know what you think. He needs to be arrested for holding that finger up at us. It's exactly what you're thinking. It's called exercising my First Amendment right. Total cost of overtime, time and a half for paid on base salaries calculated at the Monroe County Attorney's Office, Sandra. You understand that? The cost of taxpayers, Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter expending taxpayer dollars set employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Is there sexual harassment going on at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? And you're refusing to answer. Good. Sexual harassment. Man asking a woman out on a date over and over and over. She's under siege. No, it's a man touching a woman at the office constantly. That's harassment. It's emails with these disgusting, vile language, these sick jokes in there. Any number of ways that people behave that qualifies sexual harassment. Do you know what sexual harassment is, Todd? Perhaps you have your own definition. And because people behave in multiple appalling ways, there are new incidents of sexual harassment. I read the newspaper and I think, wow, this is sexual. I've never heard of this guy before. I've never heard of this woman stalker. This is new. So, you know what's going on at the sheriff's office. You know what's going on at the district attorney's office. Are your employees engaging in sexual harassment? And have you used taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits because of it? You refuse to answer. Good. The cost of taxpayers of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley expending taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Do you know what a joke you are, Sandra Doorley? As a district attorney, you won't answer yes or no? Is the answer yes or is the answer no? Answer. Oh, do you have to switch parties again, Madam District Attorney? Do you know what party you're supposed to be in? Now, Baxter, you should work at the Central Intelligence Agency. You bought a surveillance device for me. How did you pick the surveillance device that you lied about? I mean, did the CIA have a sale and you went down to the Central Intelligence Agency in Langley, Virginia, you picked this camera out for me to put on the building at 2025 Penfield Road? Did you, Todd, the fascist stooge, go to the gift shop at the Central Intelligence Agency and buy this device for me? My name is Christopher Charles. Yes, sir, I've never committed a crime. The cost of surveillance device purchased with taxpayer dollars by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter fixed to a building at 2025 Penfield Road to monitor Christopher Charles, 26 Sanders Farm Drive, walks through the parking lot next to the building. Should never happen in the United States of America. Walks through the parking lot 4,000 times. This psychopath, Nayraj Shah, screaming at me. He goes to the sheriff's office about me, but not anybody else. Then you put that camera on the building. I'm walking through the parking lot. Elliot Ross says to me, going to be arrested because he knows you put that camera on the building. And that's it right there. That's your surveillance device. And then you're calling Lindsay Barrett at the Monroe County Office of Mental Health to come to my residence when I'm calling it a surveillance device that you bought. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of taxpayers photography session approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter photographed 10 public employees underwater in a pool. You're going to have to explain this when you run for re-election. You're going to have to explain this to the controller when I demand that you be audited. That's it. There's your employees. Where was this photograph taken? In what pool? What pool in Monroe County? And how is this a training exercise? There's no training going on. This is fun sitting. Let's get in our wetsuits and go in a pool and take a picture of ourselves and put it on Facebook. Then I'm going to tell all our buddies at the sheriff's office that this is what we did. How is this a training exercise? Is this done on the time of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Did you expend taxpayer dollars to take this photograph? And I'm going to tell the controller of New York the answer is yes, because if it's a training exercise, it's done on the time of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and that's taxpayer dollars. Speaking of taxpayer dollars, a hotel and plane fare for Ryan Fisher. Is he still employed at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? What is Ryan Fisher doing out of Rochester, out of Monroe County, and out of the great Empire State? There's no reason for any Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee to be out of Monroe County. No reason, ever, ever. I'm also going to demand the cost of any out-of-state travel for the district attorneys and sheriff's office, and you're going to refuse that. I'm going to add that soon. In my relentless quest to see you two fake, disgusting, vile, sick hacks removed from office at the district attorney's office and sheriff's office. And everything I'm saying here, I'm going to send to the Department of Justice. Freedom of Information Law. The cost for a hotel and plane ticket for Monroe County Sheriff employee Ryan Fisher attended the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia on February 3rd, 2019 with his canine dog Lola. And here he is. Why is he in Atlanta, Georgia for the Super Bowl? There's no reason for Ryan Fisher to be out of Rochester, out of Monroe County, out of the Empire State, in Atlanta, Georgia. Plus, this is for a conference. Did he go down to a conference and talk about how tough the job is? You don't know what it's like to be in law enforcement. You don't know what it's like to be a police officer. You don't know what it's like, the stress and pressure that we're under. You hear that whining, you cops do? Stop that whining there at the sheriff's office and district attorney. So I'll guess, Michael Rowley, you've whined like that for your whole 20-year career. And then you're tired. Then you're rehired again for what? $0. I bet you're a champion whiner there at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Michael Rowley. And you want people to know about it. Ryan Fisher's out of state in Atlanta, Georgia, and tweeting about it. As we get ready to watch the Super Bowl, we're grateful to the men and women assigned to keep fans and players safe in Atlanta, including MCSO's Deputy Ryan Fisher, Canine Lola. Deputy Fisher sent this photo from Atlanta. Thank you both for your service. How is this explained when you run for re-election? I can hardly wait to come to your events and hold this up in front of your bald head and say, my name's Chris Chichester. You're running for re-election. How do you explain Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia? Because here he is here in a story from Spectrum News, where it says this is a first for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Yeah, this is a first. This is certainly a first for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. With one of your employees in Atlanta, Georgia, we shouldn't be, with his dog. What the officials saying there, they are super, quote-unquote, proud. Super proud? Super proud. Is that right? You're super proud of this guy? You're super proud of him. How is this super proud? He's standing here with his dog. Is there any crime going on down here? Is there an investigation of a case in Monroe County, Atlanta, Georgia? How do you possibly explain this? To the Department of Justice and the people of New York. How do you explain banging on my door like you did, you fucking fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths? There's the flag of the state of New York. Excelsior ever higher. Are you ever higher? District Attorney's Office. The answer is no. You ever higher? Sheriff's Office. The answer is no. This was the flag of Georgia. This nauseating stars and bars. This was the flag until 2003, and it had to be changed. This is the official symbol of a redneck. I used to see this on 41A when I was in 101st Airborne Division. 41A connects Hopkinsville, Kentucky, to Clarksville, Tennessee. And I would say to my roommate Anthony Neal and the other soldiers, I don't get that. What is that? Why is that there? We live in the United States of America. What is this stars and bars? This is also a flag that was used for these racists and segregationists in the 50s and 60s. The same Ku Klux Klan hood-wearing criminals that are denying Americans the right to vote. This is their symbol. This is the symbol of the Ku Klux Klan. If you're in the KKK, you love this flag, this stars and bars. And there's Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia, where he has no place to be working, I should say. There's Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia, where he's not doing his job and he shouldn't be. In a place he shouldn't be. What's Ryan Fisher doing in Atlanta, Georgia, Todd Baxter? Answer that question. What are the physical training standards or requirements at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Sheriff Todd K. Baxter? That's a question, Todd, the fascist dude. Lee LaRocque is 40 pounds overweight. You have employee after employee after employee that's overweight. In the Army, there's the PT test. You wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, PT. 6 o'clock in the morning is PT. Push-up, sit-ups, 2-mile run. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. How come you don't have any physical training standards for employees? Your employees need to be in the appropriate physical condition to protect themselves and preserve their lives. They have to have the required physical strength. Your employees are overweight, not just by a little bit, little 5 pounds. when I was at your jail as an innocent man, there was one guy in there. He was in the vicinity of 50 pounds overweight. He was in the Lee LaRoque area of overweight. Isn't that right, Leah? Tell your employees to get in shape. Who's at your jail? Again, you're going to refuse. I was violently attacked at your jail by one of your employees, which I've said repeatedly. Your employees have had their hands on me repeatedly. This is what I'm doing to you. Either in the presence of your employees as an innocent man in jail or on YouTube. Name in charge of every inmate at Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter's Monroe County Jail from January 2018 to January 7, 2021. Who's there? Separate the nonviolent inmates from the violent inmates. The fact that I have to tell your bald head this is a disgrace. I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner next to murderers and rapists and arsonists. There was a guy in there for murder. I'm in there with 70-year-old Bob, one of the nicest people, and there's 70-year-old Bob next to these people. He tells me about the guy that's in there for murder. And then when I arrived home, I went to the Democrat Chronicle and search engine, and I found it using the keywords to find this guy. I'm having breakfast, lunch, and dinner next to a man charged with murder in Monroe County Jail, and I've never committed a crime. And there's this photograph in the Democrat Chronicle, and he was a large man, about 6'3", 6'4", 280, 290 pounds, and I'm having breakfast, lunch, and dinner next to a murderer. Go to your jail immediately, go to that circular desk, and demand to talk to the superintendent, if that's his name, title, pardon me, and separate your inmates, nonviolent from violent. Perhaps you already do this, but that wasn't the case when I was there because of what I just said. Then I'm having breakfast, lunch, and dinner next to a guy charged with murder. Separate the nonviolent from the violent for their own safety, and not only for their own safety, for your own self-preservation politically. Because what happens if there's a violent crime, such as a murder, at your jail where an inmate is attacked and assaulted and either seriously hurt or murdered at your jail by a violent criminal? And he's violent, and the person in there has a charge that's not violent because you didn't separate them. Separate your inmates for their own safety, nonviolent from violent. You're refusing to tell me the name of your prosecutor, Sandra Doorley. You didn't talk. Good. Continue to refuse. How am I to leave a jail and the prosecutor doesn't talk? How's that happen? Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester where John P. Lorenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court was named the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley. Tell me her name. That's the female. This is the male. This is the 5'2", 3-piece suit boy. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester where Paula Metzler in Penfield Town Court was named the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley. Mr. 5'2", 3-piece suit boy has a piece of paper. I don't know what's on it. He walks to bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler, gives her the piece of paper. That delivers me to jail. A piece of paper that I don't know what's on it delivers me to jail. How does this happen in the United States of America to an innocent man? How does it possibly happen? Because the Jonestown Kool-Aid drinkers, that's how it happens. So, I don't know, Todd Baxter, how you could possibly say I have a passion for jails. How does that language exit your mouth? I have a passion for jails. I'm just astounded. You know, the reason why I pause there is that every time I think about you and your passion for jails, which I've read repeatedly, I'm not going to read again because it says right there. I was going to read one of the Q&As from the interview, and I'm not because I've read that repeatedly. I have a passion for jails, but you're confessing is you love suffering, and that's a disgrace. So this is the check. 61. This is the check I'll never cash. It's the check $61.39 that I had in my pocket when I was attacked outside the pharmacy on Sister Wegmans. What's the name of your employee that attacked me? Because you have 11 witnesses. I'm supposed to go into Penfield Town Court and be declared guilty when you can't even provide public information. My head slammed against the concrete pavement because of your employee. I had to get an MRI because of your employee. You have 11 witnesses. What's his name? Tell me his name. When you tell me the name of your employee who violently attacked me, my head slammed against the pavement. I had to get an MRI. I'm delivered and deposited in front of Paula Metzler, and then I'm in Livingston County. Tell me his name. When you tell me the name of your employee who violently attacked me, assaulted me, I may go to Penfield Town Court to be declared guilty by Paula Metzler. Since you will never tell me, I will never appear in Penfield Town Court. You understand me? Bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. I don't care about you concocting charges for me. I'm not going to walk in there without a jury, just be declared guilty by you. And how's that constitutional? You're imposing a bench trial upon me. If there's a jury in Penfield Town Court, I may consider going into Penfield Town Court because the jury doesn't send me anywhere, you bald-headed, wig-wearing degenerate Paula Metzler. Comply with everything. And Todd, I'm really concerned about your employee here standing in the street down there in Rochester here. Because he's got his swastika tattooed right here on himself. Your employee's got his hands out like this in the middle of the street. Here's an up-close picture of your employee right here. Here he is with that swastika. And, that's the same swastika that you have on, your chest, Todd. So how much did you pay for it? I'm thinking about getting a tattooed 101st here in Fairport on my left shoulder because, I love that Screaming Eagle. So, Todd, where did you get your tattoo here? Email me. I guess we're buddies. And, let me know, where you got that tattoo there of a swastika. So I can find out if you pay a good price. I think you can get a good tattoo for $250. So let me know how that's going. Apply with everything at District Attorney's Office and Sheriff's Office. You just received this documentation on January 7th, 2021. Send it to me, comply with all the documentation, and you will refuse. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime.